dreamers in this world, but the dew is happy. Yeah. The world is waiting for the ones who make their dreams come true. Yeah.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the West Wing. You know, success is so difficult for our human brains to grasp and understand. Plus, we have these big egos that keep us alive, yet they actually work against our moving onward and upward at the same time. This is why Sir John Templeton said success is counterintuitive. And it's also why Dr. David Hawkins says it's hard to be human. So what a dilemma. Now, I say it every way I know how and continue explaining it as new examples and illustrations present themselves. And as you've likely heard before, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that's why this work is called esoteric. We're learning to bridge the visible to the invisible. And that which we seek, success, or making a living doing what we love to do, resides in the invisible or the subjective realm. Well, I recently discovered this YouTube clip of Dr. Hawkins explaining this in a new way that I know will be helpful for you too. So here, take a look. And by the way, the lady sitting with him is Dr. Hawkins' wife, Susan.
You hear these teachers and they say the right thing.
They do.
And they say all the correct things that you think they must know.
No, it's because it's become a program.
Okay.
It's become a program. And that's the difficulty with reading and becoming intellectually familiar with spiritual realities long before you're really ready for them, is that they then become a program. They become a program. So it's an indoctrination of a program. Oh, I have to pursue my higher self. What do you mean by your higher self? You don't even know what you're talking about, your higher self.
Well, they throw these terms around like that.
What?
They throw the terms around.
Yeah, they throw the terms around.
See, they throw these terms around and you
Right.
think, well, they must really know what they're talking about. But then when you really get into it, all of a sudden they'll say, that's $100.
Well, you see, a very disciplined, if we were going to establish a real institution for spiritual learning, I would not present any of the data prematurely. In other words, let the person come to the awareness that is the next step to them. Help them remove the step, because if you read it in advance, it now becomes a program.
I see.
So they become indoctrinated, and the paradox is what they're indoctrinated with is the truth, but they're holding it as a belief system rather than an experiential subjective reality.
So reading something only creates a belief system rather than experiential subjective reality. In other words, it's the difference between knowing about something rather than knowing it. Now, in his many seminars I attended, Dr. Hawkins would often explain the difference between knowing about and actually knowing the truth of something using the example of a cat. He had a pet cat. And he would explain that we can study cats, read about cats, have a cat as a pet, but that only a cat knows what catness is, as he put it. In other words, we can only know something if we are that something. Thus, we can study success, we can read about it, attend seminars, think about it, obsess over it, copy the habits of highly successful people and mimic it. But until we are successful personally, we cannot know success. And that's what you're after. So it's the difference between the objective and the subjective, the head versus the heart, the visible versus the invisible. It's like trying to catch a beam of light with a butterfly net. You cannot do that because your success resides in the subjective invisible realm. So how do we reach the subjective realm? Well, we need to do something different. Dream tickets. The importance of performing any dream ticket while holding in mind what you love to do goes beyond your mind and taps into the universe. Your intention, energized with action, bridges the visible to the invisible. And again, that's where your success resides. So performing dream tickets is priming the pump I speak of so often, where you take a bit of visible water and use it to tap into the infinite, invisible well. And that's when the universe responds abundantly. And again, as one club member put it so beautifully, when the universe responds, it's like drinking from a fire hose. Now, it's fun to study all this, but that won't get you to where you want to be. That requires action. Dream tickets. So simply work your dream tickets, and any one is just as powerful as any other, and every one gets you closer to your dream. Now, I want to tell you about a club member who is soaring since joining us simply because he mechanically began working dream tickets. He's about 60 years old. He had been in the corporate world his entire career. Then they ousted him. He was kicked off the island, as he puts it. And he had about a year's worth of savings for himself and his family to live on. So yes, he was scared. And he was skeptical at first. But he blindly and mechanically followed my advice and began performing dream tickets. Frankly, he didn't know what else to do, so he figured, well, why not? So he followed through, took the simple steps of faith performing his dream tickets, and now you cannot believe what has opened up for him, including a 6-figure offer to do what he loves to do. But you know what? He may not even accept this position now because so many other opportunities have been presented to him in just these few short months since joining our UTS club. And by the way, the dam burst, the floodgates opened, and the fire hose appeared, all after he simply took a step of faith and performed dream ticket number 38. I've been telling you. Now, here's his email to me last week after yet another miracle occurred in his life. Now, I cannot disclose particulars here, but imagine if you loved the automobile industry and out of the blue, Lee Iacocca called and wanted to come meet with you. Now, if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. So he wrote, Ken, you are so right. If I took a full weekend to plan and imagine the biggest goals I could dream of, I never would have thought to add, let's say, Lee Iacocca to my launch plans. Dang, this is exciting. And I replied, yes, even imagining that we humans can come up with goals is arrogant, isn't it? And he replied just last night, yep, right you are, Ken. More and more, the idea of goal setting seems like a waste of energy and limitation. Beyond simple things like, I want to be at the airport by 3 p.m., he says. Then he writes, freedom. And without the tiny faith-building insights gained dream ticket by dream ticket, it would have been very hard to get me to accept or even believe all of this that's happening to me. UTS truly is the ultimate technique for success. Well, what else can I say? You cannot think your way into right action, but you can act your way into right thinking. So do your dream tickets. You don't need to know the who, what, where, why, when, or how of it. Just simply do your dream tickets. Every successful person has to go through this, but no one's made it simpler, clearer, or faster than our UTS Club, period. So stop thinking and reading and get going. Onward and upward.